Hi everyone. I want to talk about what are value producing tasks and non-value producing tasks. If you have a business, you are solving like a certain problem of your customers, and for that you have to go through several steps how to turn input into output, and the output is that the one that your customer effectively pays for. So to analyze exactly how efficient your business is looking at how fast and with how few trash you can turn your input into the output for your customer. This is basically then just separated in those value producing and non-value producing tasks, whereas the non-value producing tasks are as well separated into a necessary non-value producing task or limited value producing tasks. Well, the value producing tasks are those which have basically defined by 3 points. So it is changing the input into output, very easy. It's something that if the customer would know about it, if you tell the customer, hey, I'm doing this, do you want to pay? Is it okay if you pay for that? If your money that you pay for the service is paying for that. If he is okay with that, then that's a good signifier, a good sign that it's a value producing task. And number 3, which is very important, is the task is done right the first time. So every task that you have to repeat is basically renders the previous iteration a non-value producing task. Let's say you are talking with your client, you have a questionnaire that you give him, or you just go through it and want to set up the project frame with the customer just at the beginning. So you want to fill out your questionnaire and know about the time frame, but then you find out after the talk, hey, it was pretty nice, but I couldn't really fill out the whole sheet, so I have to call him again. That then basically says, okay, you didn't really did the previous talk, the first one, right, and that then turns it into a non-value producing task. You should have finished it in the first time properly. You're wasting then the time of the customer again, repeating it, you're wasting your time and decreasing the efficiency of your business. Now, those 3 tasks are the value producing tasks, and you can also distinguish them by looking at what are the non-value producing tasks. They are no different because those concepts come from lean engineering, lean management, and lean management is highly focused on industrial production. So for your online business or service industry, and if you have a consulting business, something, then it might be like a little bit different. You maybe have to look for yourself how exactly those would apply. So there are like 8 sources of waste. Of course, 8 is more or less arbitrary number, but I could probably find more or put some together. But yeah, they always come up with like a certain number. So let's say we just focus on those 8. So you have overproduction. Let's say we just order something in China, then they produce too much, then you have overproduction, it has to be shipped from China. Then you have the transport, which is not changing the product, which is not valuable for the customer, and which the customer don't really care about if you ship it from China or if you ship it from your warehouse in the United States, or if it just falls into a slab. It's not valuable for him. And shipping, so after shipping, because you have so many of them, you have to store it, which is in this 3rd one. Storing is not really value increasing. Now you might think, oh, there's like in France, there's this cheese, or in Italy you have this ham that gets stored for some time and that's very valuable. But that actually transforms the cheese or the ham, because you have like this mold that then gets a special taste and marbling and so on. It's a transformational storage, and not storage just for because you produce too much. So storage is also a waste. It's like the third one already. Then the fourth one, okay. Then you have defects because you store them, they lay wherever, they get wet, they get dusty, people drop them. Then you have to repair it, so that's overwork. So you could have built it right the first time, but somehow you basically on this progress to the done product, you have a notch in there where it gets broken, or you didn't really finish the production step somewhere in between properly. You didn't fill out the questionnaire properly. You have misunderstandings with your client. You didn't do it properly, so you have overproduction, not overproduction, but overwork. So overproduction is producing too many parts, and overwork is to putting more work into the production as is necessary. So then you have also the movement. In digital, that's not really that bad or that significant, because digital, if you move a file from back and forth, but if you say you have movement and you have to move files, and then you have to look at, hey, you sent it to a customer, and then you have to let's say you really have to send files to a customer. Then you want to look at it and say, okay, there's no reason or way to get around it. I have to send it there, so I have to minimize it. So instead of taking a lot of time to send the files to the customer on a hard drive or a USB stick, you send them digitally, so that they get there in a few minutes instead of maybe a day or two or half a day if you send them with a pen drive or something like that. So that's a way how to limit that in a kind of a digital setting for yours. So then you have all this shipping, transporting, and storage, and during all this time, the people in your company that are in the next steps and the client itself too are waiting. So waiting time is also a waste that you want to reduce. You can probably imagine if the client comes to you, oh, I want to have a nice video for advertising that I can share with my customers, with my audience. Then he wants to do it, have it as fast as possible, and the time is important. He doesn't want to have it in a year or in a month or a week. If you can tell him, oh, yeah, no problem, you have it in 5 minutes, or you tell him, oh, you have it in 5 weeks, it makes a big difference. So the more you can reduce that, the better. So just quickly that I can follow it, we have overproduction, we have transport, storage, overwork, defects. Then we have movement of files or something like that. Then we have the other one is waiting time. And the 8th one is something that is also very important if you work in a team, or if you have freelancers working for you, or you outsource something, that is underutilizing your intellectual capacity of your team members. It's like sounds very complicating. It's basically unused potential of your team members. If you give them stupid tasks, if you give them advice or instructions that are very low and difficult to understand, if you give them a hard time, then you will first use them wrong and open up potential for more problems. So they work slower, or they have a harder time finishing the work or basically doing the work as you want to have the outcome if the client needs it, then you just make it a hard time. And on top of that, even if you tell them how to do the work properly and what exactly the outcome has to have, what the outcome should be for the client, then you still also have to give them the ability to improve on their work, to make it better. They are doing all the work, they are directly on it, they're making the work for the client, they are gathering the experience on the problems that occur doing the work. What kind of obstacles are they to getting the input to the output, and what are the goals? And if you do not allow them to see and to look how to do their work better, how to improve, if you do not support them in that, then you are wasting their potential, their creativity, and a lot of ability to improve the process, because they, since they are directly on the step, they can have a look in how to minimize all those other 7 wastes that I talked about before. So you don't have to think about that. You look on it from the outside, you maybe think about, oh, maybe they do that step and that step, but they are in the process, they see it firsthand what is going on, and they can help you the best improving. Yeah, that are basically the 8 steps of waste. And if you have a look at that, see how it applies to your business or to other processes. If you do make your coffee and you have to walk from one cabinet all the way through the kitchen to the other one, and you think about, oh, I need so much time to prepare my breakfast, even there you can cut down on all those tasks and decrease storage, decrease your movement, the waiting time, and then have even a more efficient breakfast maybe. Yeah, value, non-value, have a look at your business and let me know what you think.